What's up, guys? I wanted to do a quick video today just talking about the new Razer Cobra Pro that just came out. I feel like there's a lot of talk on the interwebs of it just that are super negative and comparing it to the Razer Viper Mini, and then I think a lot of influencers are jumping on this, and I think the whole thing and drama and everything is just spinning out of control, and so I wanted to jump on that bandwagon and get some views. Just kidding. To be completely honest, I mostly just wanted to share my point of view and try to add some clarification so we don't go completely crazy here. So without further ado, I've got my script here. This is very low budget quality for me, but I think it's going to be a good video for you to check out. I think a lot of content creators and influencers are duping you, and I'm wanting to share my thoughts on the new Cobra Pro to try and add some clarification. I haven't purchased it yet, and I am on the fence on whether or not I will, because I certainly don't need it and would only do so for a review for you guys. But I think this will be a valuable video regardless, so do recommend that you watch it all the way through. As like a lot of you, I'm a bit perplexed on why this mouse even exists, but I do want to try and clear some things up from my own opinions and perspective to make it make a lot more sense. I think the Pro name is adding some confusion as we are comparing it to the wrong Pro products, as despite it having S-tier specs such as Gen 3 optical switches, Focus Pro sensor, their wireless tech, and ability for higher polling rates, it falls short of the Pro name when compared with the Razer Viper SE, the Viper V2 Pro, and the Death Adder V3 Pro due to the 77-gram weight, RGB, and Bluetooth functionality, as I have a hard time believing a pro or aspiring pro player will choose this mouse over the other current offerings that are a lot more lightweight. However, it does make a lot more sense when we start to compare it with the Razer Viper Ultimate or the Razer Basilisk V3 Pro. Which brings me to my second point of I think they added the Pro name here because it has everything that a casual gamer would want. S-tier internals, small shape, acceptable weight, Bluetooth/wireless functionality that can go up to 4,000 Hertz, a dock for charging, rubber sides, and beautiful, beautiful RGB lighting, along with plenty of buttons. As a lot of people were upset with the Viper V2 Pro because it got rid of a lot of the things that the Viper Ultimate's selling points were, such as having a dock and so on and so forth, but that this mouse now has, along with updated internals. As when you start to add the dock support, Bluetooth, solid shell, rubber sides, more solid build quality, theoretically due to increased weight, I'm thinking that maybe they made the shell just slightly thicker, RGB, that stuff all adds weight. Plus, they came in slightly cheaper at $130 over $150 for the likes of these guys, or $289 I think for this guy. I don't remember. It's been a while since I looked, and I try to kind of get that out of my mind because it's just, it was a lot. Or $159 for the Basilisk, which isn't a bargain seeing as the 4K dongle is about $30 and the dock is about $69. But again, for what I think the target demographic is, which is casual gamers, they won't care about 4K polling anyway, so they probably won't be purchasing that stuff anyways. The dock, however, is different. But anyways, moving on to my third point, people online are saying that this is the Viper Mini, Ultimate, V2 Pro, or whatever you want to call it. I think that is incorrect speculation on our part and setting people up for disappointment, and where I think the duping and just influencers and stuff are leading you astray. As why would they call it the Cobra if it was a Viper Mini? Additionally, it has a different shape, which is essentially a Viper Mini, but flatter, with the same small size, which is where I think a lot of the confusion comes in. We shouldn't be comparing it or thinking it is a Viper for those two reasons, because it has a different shape and because it has a different name. Because why would they not just call it a Viper Mini if it was actually the Viper Mini that we've all been waiting for? This is supposed to be a completely separate product that just happens to be eerily similar to the Viper Mini, which is leaving a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths because the Viper Mini SE is constantly sold out, and Razer has been radio silent on the release date for the Viper Mini Ultimate or Viper Mini V2 Pro, or whatever you want to call it. Which brings me in to my fourth point. My theory of why they released this mouse is that small mice are becoming more popular, as are symmetrical shapes. But non-hardcore enthusiasts also want RGB, Bluetooth, dock, etc., which doesn't really exist, as most of the time the small profile mice or symmetrical mice are pro by shedding as much weight as possible in exchange for features and buttons. For example, all of these lightweight mice don't have DPI buttons, They have no rubber sides. They have one button on the bottom for turning on and off. They don't have Bluetooth, so on and so forth. Where the Viper or the Basilisk V3 Pro, which still has the Pro moniker, has the beautiful over-the-top RGB lighting, right? Just like this new Cobra Pro does. And then it also has the Bluetooth functionality. It has the rubber sides. It has all the buttons, so on and so forth. So I think you get what I'm saying here. So this takes the place of that hole in the market, and despite our bickering, I think it's going to be a really successful mouse. As I personally love the Razer Basilisk V3 Pro, and I use this all the time when I'm not gaming, as it's supremely comfortable. It has the infinite scroll wheel, plus plenty of buttons, S-tier specs, so if I do game or something like that, I'm able to still dominate. Along with having top-tier internals for when I'm just using the mouse for whatever it may be that I'm using my computer for. But most importantly, it has that delicious RGB lighting. Seriously though, the RGB on this is so nice. But the weight holds it back for competitive games, as it's 112 grams. If we compare this mouse to the new Cobra mouse, it becomes a lot more alluring. Because it has a different shape, no infinite scroll wheel, but otherwise same features at 77 grams over 112, which is significant and does make it fit into the competitive weight category for first-person shooters, along with just being so much lighter than this, which is a huge 77 grams, 112 grams. That's a big difference. Along with it coming in at $129 compared to $159. And from that perspective, it starts to look like a pretty darn good deal. And honestly, assuming this is a quality mouse without any defects, which I think is probably pretty safe to assume based on my previous testing of Razer's recent mice, which are all excellent, by the way, will probably be the mouse that I would recommend to the mass majority of individuals, just because it has everything that you could possibly want, because it has all the top tier features that you'd be looking for, along with some room for upgradability, such as the dock or the 4K polling, if you are willing to spend a bit more money. However, I wouldn't recommend buying the 4K polling dongle and then buying the dock, because the dock has the 4K polling dongle in it, which is one of the reasons why it's so expensive. I think $70 for the dock is ludicrous, but it does have RGB lighting. It has all of the magnetic key charging, however you say it, along with the 4,000 hertz polling. Don't get me wrong, it's still a lot of money. But anyways, that's the video. That's what I wanted to discuss. I'd love to hear your opinions, your thoughts on this matter, on this mouse, on this video, on whatever else you want to discuss down in the comment section down below. So I will see you down there. God bless. Peace out. And I'll see you on the next one.